Today we are looking at rare archive photography from 1894 to 1915, capturing the era of the California redwood loggers. This was a time before machines, where the massive scale of these giants was met with nothing but hand tools and unbelievable grit. Take a look at the Admiral Dewey. Felled in 1894, this single redwood trunk measured up to 26 feet across. The saws used to finish the cut were called misery whips. For a 26-foot tree, they would often have to weld two saws together just to make a blade long enough to reach across the entire trunk. The name is scrawled right on the bark, a common tribute to the biggest trees of the era. The tree was named after Admiral George Dewey, a massive celebrity, in 1894, following his naval exploits. It was a common PR stunt for logging companies to name their biggest trophy trees after war heroes or presidents. It took a complex system of heavy steel cables and raw animal power just to budge a single section of wood this size. By 1905, the Converse Basin mill was one of the largest and most advanced sawmills in the world. This shot of the mill landing shows the logs lined up before being fed into the saws, each one still dwarfing the men standing on top of them. Despite the massive volume of wood seen here, the operation was a constant financial struggle. These sequoias were so massive and brittle that they often shattered into unusable chunks when they hit the ground. Nearly 75% of a tree could be wasted before it even reached the mill. In the background, the towering smokestacks signal the transition to steam power. While earlier trees were moved by teams of animals, these boilers powered the massive bandsaws and donkey engines that allowed loggers to process the forest at an industrial rate previously thought impossible. To move these giants through the rugged terrain of Converse Basin, loggers relied on the steam donkey, the puffing engine you see in the background. Invented by John Doyle in 1881, this machine replaced teams of oxen, using high-tension steel cables to pull massive logs across the forest floor. To the left, you can see a log chute, a primitive but effective slide built into the hillside. These chutes were often greased with tallow or oil, allowing 100-ton logs to glide down the steep slopes toward the mill landing. It was a noisy, dangerous environment. This is Big Bill Mills, a man who was essentially a folk hero in the California logging camps of the 1890s. Standing 6'2" and weighing over 200 pounds, Bill was a champion feller, a title reserved for the elite few who could be trusted to bring down the largest trees on Earth. Here is another example of a massive saw that loggers had to weld together. Standing nearly 12 feet tall, these custom blades were the only way to span trunks of this diameter. The men are sitting inside a massive undercut that took days to chop out by hand. You can see the carpet of wood chips at their feet, a small hint of the manual labor required before the big saw even started its work. By 1891, the industry reached a turning point. In this shot of the Sanger Lumber Company Railroad, you can see a geared Shea locomotive, a machine specifically built to climb steep mountain grades that would stall a normal train. In the background, a team of oxen is still at work, but the arrival of the railroad changed everything. These tracks allowed loggers to haul thousands of tons of timber out of the deepest parts of the forest, moving wood at a pace that animal power simply couldn't match. By 1900, the Converse Basin had been transformed into a massive industrial complex. This panorama shows the central sawmill at its peak, surrounded by a web of railroads, elevated trestles, and a 54-mile-long water flume used to float lumber down to the valley. The scale of the operation was immense, but so was its impact. Looking at the bare hillsides in the background, you can see the total deforestation of what was once the densest grove of giant sequoias on Earth. It was this level of destruction that eventually sparked the first major push for forest conservation in America, as people realized these ancient giants were disappearing faster than they could ever grow back. This bucking crew from 1894 is posing with a single section of a giant sequoia that was estimated to hold 25,000 board feet of lumber. To put that in perspective, that's enough wood to build an entire house from just this one piece of the tree. You can see the crew scattered all over the log, some perched 20 feet up on the top edge, to show off the staggering scale. To the left, a web of heavy steel cables and pulleys was used to move the weight, as no team of horses could budge something this massive on its own. Thanks for watching. If you're a fan of real historical archives and the stories they tell, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the past.